Hello and welcome to my channel, the MMA Loser, and I'm back with another video. Before I start the video, please watch the video at 1.5x or 2x the normal speed because this is going to be a long video, and I just want you guys to save your time and have a better experience while I talk about this fight in hand. If you so the fight that I will be talking about today, that we will discuss today, is between top heavyweight contenders, top UFC heavyweights, Blaydes and Sergei Pavlovich. This is the most, I would say, classic style versus style matchup. That is a grappler versus a striker, and they are both in for a title contention. If the person who wins this fight is going to get a title shot, I think they're going to get a title shot because both of these fighters, that is Sergei Pavlovich and Blaydes, both of them have been on a good winning streak. And as we all know, that the heavyweight division in UFC is the most shallow division. The talent pool in heavyweight is not really that great, and there is pretty much nobody in the heavyweight division that is a good fighter, that is a complete fighter. When Ngannou was there, Ngannou was dominating everyone. He was knocking out everyone cold. And the current heavyweight champion is John Bon Jones, GOAT, arguably the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And in his last performance, he just showed how he is way, way, way ahead of everybody in the heavyweight division. He made uh, Cyril Bongamin Gan look like an amateur. Cyril Gan had no idea what hit him when John took him to the ground and submitted him within, I think, 2 or 3 minutes of the first round. Gan had no answer to John's grappling, and I do not think there are that many people in the heavyweight division who can grapple with John Jones. The only person who I think has somewhat of a chance when it comes to grappling against John Jones is Curtis Blaydes. So I kind of want to see John Jones versus Curtis Blaydes, but I don't think that is going to happen because John Jones has hinted at an early retirement after his fight against Stipe Miocic. And if I'm not mistaken, again, that fight with Stipe Miocic has also been postponed. Also, I don't think Stipe is going to do well against John Jones. I mean, the layoff, considering his age and the beating that he took against Ngannou, the knockout against Ngannou, I don't think, or I don't necessarily see Stipe Miocic giving a tough fight to John Jones. Again, I can be wrong. I have been wrong in the past, and I don't really care if I'm wrong. I just want to see a good fight. So if John Jones retires against Stipe, I don't know who there is. Probably they'll make Curtis Blaydes versus who? Because Cyril Gane looked terrible in his last fight. He did not look like a top UFC heavyweight. He just looked like an amateur. And I don't know. The UFC heavyweight division is really not in a great place. Maybe someone from light heavyweight moves up. I don't see anyone just doing anything well at heavyweight. But we'll talk about the rest of the divisions a little later in this video. But first, let us talk about the fight in hand. That is Sergei Pavlovich versus Curtis Blaydes. Let us look at I'm just going to talk about their records really quick. Uh, Sergei Pavlovich is 30 years old. He is 6 feet 3, 255 pounds. Depends. Maybe he will be heavier or lighter. Depend. I think he will be a little bit heavier or lighter, whatever. And he has had only one loss in his entire career, which was against Alistair Overeem, and he lost that fight by ground and pound. That is, he got taken down. If Alistair Overeem can take you down and ground and pound you, then Curtis Blaydes is going to do worse than that to you. So I give a really good advantage to Curtis Blaydes. Now that fight with Alistair Overeem was in 2018. Then he fought twice in 2019. Then entire 2020 and 2021, he did not fight in the UFC, or he did not fight. Then of course, he fought in 2022. He fought against Shamil Abdurakhimov. He fought against Derek Lewis and Taito Iwasa, and he knocked out both Derek Lewis, Taito Iwasa, which is no small feat. But then again, Derek Lewis ha, has been on the decline. He is not the Derek Lewis that we have seen in the past. He's really old right now, and he has fought like what, 50, 60 fights. Then there is Taito Iwasa. Again, Taito Iwasa hasn't looked really that great either. I I think he's a really exciting fighter. Taito Iwasa is a really good fighter. He always shows up. He always comes to fight. But it is what it is. He's not really the most technical fighter. And Shamil Abdurakhimov, I don't know much about that fight. I did not watch that fight. He also fought against Maurice Green, and before that he fought against Marcelo Gom. But whatever, none of those fighters that he has ever fought are grapplers. They're all strikers, and Sergey always turns out to be the most powerful or more powerful of the two strikers. Whenever he fights another striker, he's more powerful. He has better punches, and he has more power in his punches, and he just somehow knocks them out. Now let us look at Razor Blades' stats. Razor Blades is 32. He is 2 years older than Sergey. He's 6 feet 4 and 260 pounds, and he has had 17 wins and 3 losses. Of course, 2 of his losses come against uh, Francis Ngannou, and one of his loss was against Derek Lewis. In all these 3 fights, he got caught. I mean, his fight against Francis Ngannou, he had no chance. Like it looked like it's Francis Ngannou. He just has so much of power in his. But then again, there's Francis Ngannou. He just has the most powerful punch in the UFC, probably in the world. But I don't know if Sergei Pavlovich has similar power and similar brutality, because Francis has never been finished inside the octagon, and Sergey has been finished. And Sergey's kryptonite, or Sergey's shortcoming, has to be his inability to defend takedowns and his lack of ground game. When I saw his last fight against uh, Alistair Overeem, and Curtis Blades has been someone who gets caught while trying to take you down, but he got caught only thrice. So there is a chance for Sergey. He has a puncher chance, but if we go for technique to technique, technique by technique, and skill to skill, I think Curtis Blades has a better chance of finishing this fight on the ground against Sergey Pavlovich than he has against uh, Curtis Blades. And also, Curtis Blades is a wrestler, and uh, normally wrestlers tend to have better uh, gas tank, better cardio, better endurance than these strikers. So overall, I'm just leaning towards Curtis Blades when it comes to this fight. I am not 100% sure, of course. Anything can happen in a fight, and especially in the heavyweight division where one good punch can end the fight like no other division. But looking back, just looking at stats and looking at their fighting style, I think Curtis Blades might win that. Also, let me take a look at Blades'. Curtis Blades is on a 3 fight win streak as well. He fought against Jorginho Rosenstruik, which was a decision, unanimous decision, and he fought against Chris Dawkins, which was a TKO, and then again, of course, Tom Aspinall. That was a TKO knee injury. I mean, Tom Aspinall fight, um, that was a really weird injury, and I think this is happening a lot right now, where we see a number of UFC fighters losing because of injuries, because of knee injuries. Calvin Kattar had that, Brian Ortega, and Sean O'Malley had it, but Sean O'Malley got, yeah, I think Sean O'Malley had it, but mainly Calvin Kattar and Brian Ortega, as I can remember. And of course, and also he lost, and before that he lost to Derek Lewis, which was in 2021. So I don't know. I'm just giving the advantage to Curtis Blades because of his wrestling. And he has been on the top of the heavyweight division for some time, but he always comes up short against Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou, and for that very reason, he did not get a title shot in the past. And the heavyweight division, let me just take a look at the heavyweight division in general. Yeah, the heavyweight division does not really look that great, to be honest. John Jones is the champion. Cyril Gane is the number one who lost to John Jones. Then there is Stipe Miocic, who is really old, and I do not think he's going to make a comeback. Then there is Sergei Pavlovich and Curtis Blaydes. They're both fighting. Tom Espinel had a really bad injury. Taito Ivasa has been losing. Alexander Volkov is also losing. Sergey Spivak, he's good. He's good. Sarginho Rosenstruik, I do not really have any great hopes from him. Marcin Tybura wins some, loses some. Derek Lewis has been on a really bad uh, he's not really doing that well. Like anyway, he's been on the decline. Jelton Almeida, do not know. I don't know much about him. Chris Dawkins has been on a losing streak. Blagoy Ivanov, he's really old. He's not going to be a champion, I don't think. Alexander Romanov. I think Alexander Romanov recently did really well against someone. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just confusing Romanov with Spivak. Maybe again, I'm not sure, but the heavyweight division does not look really that interesting right now. If John Jones moves out of the heavyweight division, then there is literally nobody to watch. So I think the UFC should go. I mean, without Francis, without John, this heavyweight division looks really, really bad. It just does not look good. I'm sorry to say that, but the heavyweight division it does not look really that interesting or that exciting. But having said that, my final prediction is that I think Curtis Blades is going to take the fight to the ground and finish it on the ground by ground and pound. And now I can be very wrong, and maybe Sergei Pavlovich will just knock him out with one punch in the opening round, like Derek Lewis did against Curtis Blades, like Francis Ngannou did against Curtis Blades. There is a good chance of that, but for just for the argument's sake, just for the namesake, I'll say that Curtis Blades is going to defeat Sergei Pavlovich by TKO ground and pound. Now, do tell me what you guys think about this fight between Curtis Blades and Sergei Pavlovich. Who you think is going to win the fight? And are you guys excited for the heavyweight division as in whole? And what is the future of the UFC heavyweight division? Do write that in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, then drop a like, share this video, and yes, please subscribe to my channel. I have really few subscribers. I just need more subscribers so that more people watch my videos. Peace out.